Welcome back to Dreams of the Nameless, where it's 2019 and we shouldn't have to tell you that yes, vaccines are safe in this dystopian moment.
The largest global study of attitudes about vaccines was recently released, and as one article I read from the BBC put it, the study suggests confidence is low in some regions. I'd say that's putting it mildly. Overall, 79% of the more than 140,000 global respondents were asked, "Are vaccines safe?" And they responded with somewhat agree or strongly agree. I really wish it was a little more granular on that article because I'd like to know, how many, like, what was the proportion of somewhat agree to strongly agree. I don't like that they kind of lumped those together. It also went on to say that 7% of people responded as strongly disagree that vaccines are safe. Also, 84% of all respondents somewhat or strongly agreed that vaccines work, while 5% strongly disagreed about them working.
Wait,
And
what
as an
percent?
interesting 5% said they disagreed that
Okay.
they work.
Okay.
I did think it was interesting that more people thought they worked than thought it was safe. It makes sense when you kind of think about it, but it was interesting that those numbers weren't more close. I mean, they're only 5% points off, but when you're talking about 140,000 people, like that's not a small number.
No, not at all.
Yeah. I also thought it was interesting as a side note. One of the infographics I saw is it was a correlation between education and beliefs about vaccines. And obviously, the more well educated someone was, the more likely they were to believe that vaccines are safe and that they work and that children should have them and other such vaccine positive views. So the global statistics overall are not terribly awesome. Unfortunately, the United States was even worse. Only 48% of people strongly agreed that vaccines are safe, and 60% believed that they're effective. These numbers are abysmal. I mean, scientists have, for literally our entire lives at this point, if I recall correctly, have continued to prove again and again that vaccines are safe and they work. There's no doubt. Officially, no one has any doubt that these things are good or that we should be using them. And yet the so-called anti-vaxxers continue in this persistent idiocy that they're dangerous or it'll hurt your child or it hurts people. It's just stupid. We've said it before, I think, on this channel. I know we've talked about vaccines, and this is just dangerous. It's dumb. There's so much about it that it just riles me up, and I get so angry. This isn't how herd immunity works. You can't just have some people doing it and some people not. That we have to have a mass coverage, or else you have measles outbreaks like the one that we currently have, which is the worst that's ever had in the U.S. for decades, multiple decades. So the World Health Organization also classified and I think it was their poorest phraseology ever. And I don't even think phraseology is a word, so it fits right in.
It is, of course.
They call it.
It is a word. If you
It is.
ask Charles Dickens.
I I like the word. So, but they called it vaccine hesitancy, as though like the idea was just you're kind of on the fence going. So I think more appropriately we should say vaccine idiocy is one of the top 10 threats to global health. And this is again, the World Health Organization classified it as a top 10 threat. I'm just, I don't think we should call it hesitancy. I think that's dumb. As a final point here, the study where I really got interested in is that literally every single country in South America and most of the countries in Africa have vastly higher confidence in vaccines than the United States on average. That just blows my mind because it makes sense. Is it surprising to you? Why is it surprising? Should we expect that the U.S. is higher than Africa or about the same? How do you take that
What
statistic?
did you say? You said South America. So
South America and Africa, yeah.
okay. Um, I would say that I am never surprised at the depth of stupidity in American people. Ever. I'm 31, and just in my lifetime, we did the Iraq War. There's flat Earth. There's Christians everywhere. Just all the stupidity that floats around all the time. So no, I guess I'm just not surprised. This is kind of our thing. It's what we do. We have guns, and we struggle to do basic human rights progress. I mean, we had to fight wars over slavery, and one war, and we consistently fail to lead the world in areas like education, science, all of that stuff. So, and these other places, it's likely that they know what it's like when vaccines fail. Particularly in less developed areas, it's likely that either through story or through personal experience that the people have seen mass sickness and what it does to communities. And so I think that the American anti-vaxxer movement, I guess if we want to call it that, I hesitate to use that word because even that I feel like gives it more credit than it deserves. It's a horrific display of privilege, I think. Maybe the most ridiculous display of privilege that exists. Because if you look at these people, they're mostly rural dwelling white people, or the ones that I have seen publicized fit into that criteria, and you can tell that the level of safety that they enjoy and the level of privilege that they have allows them, or has allowed them, to become so stupid that they would stop taking, they wouldn't give their kids medications that prevent diseases that in other parts of the world to this day still just ravage populations. I don't know. I could sit here for hours and talk about how much I hate anti-vaxxers. I saw something on Facebook the other day where it was this person saying, you know, I live in an area where there's a measles outbreak and my child isn't vaccinated. Is there any information you could give me about how I can protect my child?
And obviously the response was, yeah, vaccinate them.
Yeah, vaccinate them, you fucking idiot.
I read a book, Hot Zone. It was all about the smallpox and about how we were able to contain it with vaccines and how dangerous it was and how it killed millions of people and the strategies they used in vaccination. And
I don't even think we need that analogy, Mike. I think we can stick right with, if you look at almost any advanced medical procedure, x-rays, I'm pretty sure MRIs, EKGs, they all carry a certain type of risk. There's lots of medical procedures and medications that we use where we accept that the thing that it's doing, either for the individual or for society, is far outweighs the minor side effects. So even if vaccines cause an increase statistically in certain types of ailments, it's not enough to outweigh the avalanche of goodness that comes from not having fucking smallpox.
Yep. Undeniably, and that's why I point that book out, is he talks a lot about vaccines and why they work and how this strategy was so important. And that's why when I see these people who say these things, the cliche, as you said, for me, in my mind, white, middle class, upper middle class, suburbanite mom who researched on Facebook. Meanwhile, literally, scientists...
researched on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck EBSCO host. Facebook.
We literally have scientists working on vaccines for things like Ebola and other literally like super dangerous diseases that if that comes to America, I can almost guarantee that soccer mom isn't going to go, oh, no, not for me, thanks. But because it's at this point, it's not only is it like a mark of like they're kind of proud of it, they use these things. I can think of a few things, sort of like the the organic movement, the gluten-free, all these other sorts of class of things that we can all think of as a point of pride where, no, I don't actually have celiacs, or no, I don't, actually have measles or what have you, but I am so proud that I didn't need this vaccine and I didn't need to eat gluten or what have you. There's fads that they hold up as like, I'm better than thou, I'm holier than thou because I didn't get tricked by the vaccine.
Let's not throw gluten-free people under the bus. Oh no, I'm fully backing the fuck away from you on that. You went full. That was a hot take, bro. That was not a good conflation.
I'm not saying that those things are bad. I'm saying that they take those things which on their own are good or can be good.
Yeah, but you're still then don't include the anti-vaxxers.
But no, I'm saying these are the same people who do these things where they hold them up and it's a point of pride, as though I'm better than you because I didn't get vaccines or because I did this thing. And it's a whole class of behavior that it's just a sign of like super grotesque privilege, regardless of whether or not it's vaccines or gluten or what have you. It's just this grotesque behavior that's all part of a pattern of stupidity that should just be deleted from American society in general.
All right, you heard it here first. Gluten-free is the same as anti-vax.